Hello my dear students, once again welcome to your online class. Today we will be learning the chapter 4 of your chemistry textbook, that is the atomic structure and the chemical bond. So we have already studied in the lower classes also that all the matters, irrespective of its physical status or physical state, whether solid, liquid or the gas, they are made out of a very small particle known as atoms. Okay, so today we will be discussing about the structure of the atoms, its subatomic particles and the person who discovered them. So to begin this chapter, we will study the Dalton's atomic theory, where the Dalton was the ancient scientist who studied closely what the atoms looks like, and then he mentioned some of his postulates. Though there are many errors in his postulates, but this was one of the first accepted atomic theory. So in his theory he wrote that the point 1, as he says that all the matters, they are made out of a very small particles which are known as atoms. And he also mentioned that the atoms, these atoms can neither be created nor it can be destroyed. The third point he mentioned was the atoms, they are indivisible. That means you cannot divide the atom into the smaller part. The fourth point he mentioned was these atoms, they combine in the simple ratio to form the molecules. And also the last, he also told that the atoms of the same elements, they are alike, but the atoms of the different elements, they are different. Okay, so the atoms from the same element, they are same, but the atoms from the two different elements, and if you compare them, they are completely different. So this was the idea about the atom that the Dalton gave in his theory. But whereas nowadays we have a modern atomic theory that states that the atoms, it can be created and it can be destroyed also. Okay, so nowadays we have a nuclear reactions, that is known as a nuclear fusion and a nuclear fission reactions, by which we can create and destroy the atoms. Okay, so this was one of the corrections made in the modern atomic theory. And the second is the Dalton in his theory, he wrote that the atoms are indivisible, but with the modern techniques it has been found that the atoms can be divisible. The atoms are divisible into its 3 subatomic particles, which we'll learn in the next part. Okay, so the question that may come in your exam is differentiate between the Dalton's atomic theory and the modern atomic theory. So simply you may write the answers that the Dalton in his theory, he said that the atoms can neither be created nor it can be destroyed, but the modern theory tells us that the atoms can be created and as well as it can be destroyed by the process of a nuclear fusion and a nuclear fission reaction. And also the another difference is the Dalton in his theory, he said that the atoms are indivisible. But nowadays with the discovery of the 3 subatomic particles, it has been proved that the atoms can be divisible into 3 parts. They are the electron, protons and the neutrons. Okay, so that's the first and the most important question of this chapter. Now coming to the subatomic particles, now related to this third point. Okay, so the atoms are indivisible. Now we can say that the atoms are divisible. So the atoms nowadays, it can be divided into 3 parts. Okay, or the atom consists of the 3 particles which are known as the subatomic particles. So what are they? They are the electron, proton and the neutrons. And what is a nucleus? Nucleus is a space where the proton and the neutron, they reside. Okay, and this proton and the neutron, they together can be called as a nucleons also. Okay, so both of them, they are known as a nucleons. So what are nucleons? The nucleons are the subatomic particle that resides inside the nucleus. Okay, so inside the nucleus we have a proton and a neutron. So the nucleus, the nucleons that is positively charged is known as proton, and the nucleons that is neutral are known as neutron. And where is the electron? The position of the electron is around the nucleus. So if I have to draw the structure of a atom, so it will be somewhat like the central part of the atom is known as a nucleus that consists of the protons and the neutrons. Okay, so as a result, the charge of the nucleus is positive, and the electrons, they revolve around the nucleus in a path known as a cell. So what they are known as? They are known as a cell. Okay, so this is a first cell, second cell, third cell. So each of the cell, they have the definite name. So we start with a K, L, M, N. Okay, so K is the innermost cell, and the electrons are revolving around the nucleus, okay, in a path known as a cell. So it's just like the solar system. Okay, so where sun is at the center and the planets are revolving around it. In the similar way, the nucleus is at the center of the atom and the electron revolves around the nucleus. So that is the structure of an atom. So atoms looks like a solar system. Okay, so where the nucleus is at the center and the nucleus consists of the proton and the neutron, and around the nucleus revolves the electron. And if you are asked to differentiate between the three subatomic particles, you can easily differentiate it in terms of its position or its space or position in a atom. So the proton and the neutron, it resides inside the nucleus, but whereas the electrons, it resides outside the nucleus. Another difference is the electron is a negatively charged subatomic particle. The proton is a positively charged subatomic particle, and the neutron, it is a the neutrons, the neutrons, they are neutral. Okay, and nucleus is just a space, okay, where the proton and the neutrons, it resides. So the nucleus forms the central part of an atom. So coming to the discovery, so in books it is given in details how each of them they were discovered. Okay, so you may go through your books in detail, and then you may also learn the properties of the cathode rays and the anode rays. Okay, so initially when the first people, they did not knew the electron was there, they used to compare it with the cathode ray, and the proton, it was compared with the anode rays, okay, or its anode rays. So you can learn the properties of both that cathode rays and the anode rays. Okay, so the electron, the J.J. Thomson is responsible for the discovery of electron. Proton was discovered by Goldstein. The neutrons, they were discovered by the Chadwick or the James Chadwick, and the nucleus, it was discovered by the Rutherford. So now, after having been discovered these three subatomic particles and the presence of the nucleus in the central part of an atom, a person named Rutherford, he proposed a new atomic theory. Okay, so the new atomic theory, what does it say? It says that the atom contains a large empty space. So what does it mean? That most of the space inside the atom is a empty space. Nothing is there, just at the center there is a nucleus, and somewhere far away from the nucleus there is a electron, and most rest they are empty space. The second, the central part of an atom, it contains a proton. The central part, which is also known as a nucleus. Okay, so you may also say the central part of an atom, which is known as a nucleus, it contains a positively charged particle which are known as the protons. The third, he also mentioned that the size of a nucleus is very small compared to the whole size of an atom. It's just like comparing myself or yourself in the middle of this ground. Okay, our ground is very big compared to what we are. Okay, so suppose if the atom is this big, okay, so what is the size of the nucleus? Nucleus is just a small dot. So that is what the Rutherford meant. Okay, so the size of the nucleus is very, very small compared to the size of an atom. And finally, he also said that the atom is electrically neutral. Though we studied that the atom consists of the positively and the negatively charged particle, but as a whole, when we see the atom is neutral. It is neither positively charged nor negatively charged. Why is it so? It is so because the charge of the electron is equal to the charge of the proton. Okay, the electron is negatively charged and the proton is positively charged. And in an atom, the number of proton is always equal to the number of electron. Suppose if I have 2p here, okay, so 2 positively charged proton. So we also have 2 negatively charged electrons. So what happens? Both of them, they cancels each other. Just like if you have a maths like +2 -2, what does it give? It gives me 0. Or +10 -10, what does it give? It gives me 0. So that's why the atom as a whole, it is neutral. Okay, so in those days, the Rutherford's atomic model was quite scientific, but still there existed a drawback, which was later corrected by a person named as Bohr, Niels Bohr. Okay, so what was the mistake or the drawback of the the Rutherford's atomic model was, in those days, the laws of the mechanics, okay, and the electrodynamics. It stated that whenever a charged particle, it revolves around another charged particle. It's here because the nucleus is positively charged, okay, and then the electron, they do not stay stationary in the orbit, okay, they continuously revolve. They are always in the state of motion. So the law of mechanics and the electrodynamics, it tells us that whenever a charged particle revolves around another charged particle, it continuously emits energy, okay, so it gives off energy. So if it gives off energy, what happens? This electron will become very weak, okay, and due to the electrostatic force of attraction, okay, so it may lose some of the centrifugal force, okay, so as a result, this electron, it may follow a spiral path. Okay, spiral means just like a spring we have, spiral path. Okay, so if you want this little clearer diagram, then I'll draw like. So it means that the central part is positive, okay, and the electron revolves around the nucleus. So if it is the case that if the charged particle, whenever they revolve around another charged particle, it continuously emits energy, okay, so as a result, it will follow a spiral path, okay, and the electron will fall inside the nucleus, okay, so thus there will be no atom, okay, so the existence of atom completely vanishes, because if there is no electron, okay, there is no sense of calling it a atom. So that was the drawback. He could not explain, okay, actually he did not say that this happens, but because the laws were such that whenever the charged particle moves around another charged particle, it emits energy. So as a result of which the atom, it should vanish away, because the electron, it will continuously move in a spiral path and then it will fall into the nucleus, thus the atom will exist no longer. But that is not the case. The atom, just like it cannot be created nor it can be destroyed, okay, but you learn in the later part how the atoms are created and destroyed by the nuclear fusion and fission reaction. There also we cannot make a new atom completely. There the two atoms combines to form a new atom. Okay, so in this case the theory is wrong now. The atoms is destroyed here, which is not possible. Okay, so he could not explain, because the atoms usually they are stable. Okay, they do not vanish just like that. So who came up? The Bohr, the Niels Bohr, he came up with the correction to the Rutherford's atomic model. He carried out a number of experiments and he found out that yes, the electrons, it emits energy, but when it revolves in a fixed path, because the electron, they revolve in a fixed path, okay, which is not. So suppose if I have one electron here in the first cell, the another electron in the second cell. So the energy, each of these cells are associated with a fixed energy level, which means that the energy in the first cell, the energy that the electron in the first cell has is not the same that the energy in the second cell has. So when carrying out the experiment, he found out that yes, the electron, it emits or it gains energy, but it does not emit energy when it moves in a circular path. It emits energy only when it makes a transition from the second cell to the first cell or first cell to the second cell. Okay, so finally then the stability of an atom could be explained. Okay, so what was the correction made by the Bohr? The Bohr, he said that whenever the electron, they revolve in a fixed path around the nucleus, it does not emit an energy, but it emits or it absorbs energy only when it make a transition from one cell to the another cell. Okay, so that is what the Niels Bohr made a correction in the Rutherford's atomic model, okay, and which was true and well acceptable by all the scientists of those days and as well as the modern days. So now in the next part we'll learn about the chemical bond. Why do these atoms combine? And the different kinds of chemical bond that is present in the that occurs when the two atoms want to gain stability. Till then, stay safe. Thank you.